It started on a quiet Tuesday morning, the kind of peaceful morning where you sip your coffee, step into your backyard, and expect nothing more than birds chirping and sunlight on your fence. But that morning, as I opened my back door, I didn't see my garden. I saw three men in neon vests standing on my property, bright orange stakes hammered into my lawn, and a long white string stretched across the grass like a crime scene. For a second, I honestly thought I had walked into the wrong yard. One of them turned toward me casually and said, "Morning, sir. We're just marking the new HOA boundary." That was the moment my peaceful backyard turned into a full-blown war zone. I asked them what they were doing on my land, and they calmly explained that the Homeowners Association had approved a new shared green access pathway for the neighborhood, and according to their updated layout, nearly 12 feet of my backyard now counted as common ground. I laughed because I thought it had to be some kind of mistake. I had lived in this house for over 18 years. My kids grew up playing in that exact patch of grass. I built that wooden deck with my own hands. But these men weren't joking. They told me construction crews would be arriving within the week to begin removing my fence so the new walkway could connect two streets behind my property. Within hours, the stakes multiplied. Survey flags popped up all along my flower beds. Spray paint markings appeared across the grass like scars. Then came the notice, taped right onto my back gate like some kind of eviction warning, stating that failure to comply with HOA development plans could result in fines up to $500 per day. That's when the anger set in, because this wasn't just about grass or a fence. This was my land. My taxes paid for it. My mortgage covered every inch of it. And suddenly, someone sitting in an air-conditioned meeting room decided it wasn't mine anymore. The next day, I attended the HOA meeting, hoping for some kind of explanation, but what I walked into felt more like a courtroom than a community gathering. The board members sat at the front with printed maps showing my backyard sliced into neat sections labeled Future Pedestrian Corridor. They talked about property value increases and neighborhood accessibility like they were discussing a public park instead of someone's private land. When I objected, one board member actually told me that homeowners agree to certain land use flexibility when joining an association. That was news to me, because I never agreed to give up my backyard for a sidewalk. By Thursday morning, things escalated even further. A temporary construction barrier appeared along the new boundary line, cutting my yard in half. My sprinkler system was shut off without permission because it apparently interfered with the planned walkway. That's when I realized this wasn't a misunderstanding. It was an organized takeover. So I made one phone call that changed everything. I contacted a property attorney who specialized in land use disputes. He asked me to send over my original property survey from when I bought the home nearly 2 decades ago. Within an hour of reviewing it, he told me something that made my heart skip a beat. According to the legally recorded plot, the HOA had absolutely no right to claim that portion of my yard, not even a foot of it. Their so-called updated boundary was based on a conceptual neighborhood plan that had never been legally approved or filed with the county. The following Monday, as construction equipment rolled toward my fence, my attorney arrived with an official cease and desist order. Work stopped instantly. Conversations turned into arguments. HOA representatives began making frantic calls. By the afternoon, county officials were on site reviewing documentation, and what they found sent shockwaves through the entire board. It turned out the HOA had not only overstepped its authority, they had authorized development on privately owned land without obtaining the legal easements from homeowners. In simple terms, they tried to take what wasn't theirs. By the end of the week, every stake was removed, the spray paint was washed away, and the construction barrier disappeared overnight like it had never been there. But the aftermath didn't end with my yard being restored. Several other homeowners came forward after learning what happened, and a formal investigation into the HOA's development practices was launched. Board elections were called early, policies were rewritten, And for the first time in years, people in this neighborhood started reading the fine print before signing anything. Today, when I walk into my backyard, it's peaceful again. The deck still stands, the fence is exactly where it's always been. But every time I see that patch of grass where those orange stakes once stood, I'm reminded just how quickly your home can become someone else's project if you don't know your rights.